more about this than I do. Somebody's probably already figured this out. But down here in my transmission tunnel, I've got a lot of heat coming through there. And it was mostly because the old donut that was in there had completely worn out. However, what makes it more complicated is that this Jeep has a 3-inch suspension lift and a 2.5-inch body lift. So when you replace this down here, there's about a 2.5-inch, or in this case about a 2-inch gap where it will no longer seal. So I don't know if anybody else has figured out a solution for this, but I think that I've figured out something. I've taken 2 of these. One of them, I have set my fence on the table saw downstairs to 2 inches, because the gap down here is a little bit less than 2 inches, about 1 7/8 inches. So I figure like there's going to be a little bit of compression in there, which will make it seal stacked down there. Got the normal one that goes around the transmission gear shift, and then this one, which will compress on top of that one, and will press up against the body on the bottom here, and hopefully will cut out all of that heat that comes through the shifter here. Is it going to work? I have no idea. Well, we're going to find out. So I've already taken the skid plate off. I just got to take these bolts out of the bracket here for the transmission. Now the bitch of it is that to get those seals in here, you got to take all this out and drop it down as far as you can, which isn't very far because the transmission won't allow you, or the drivetrain won't allow you to take it out very far. But then you got to wrestle it in there. And I've already put the first one in there. I'll show you video of putting the second one in there, but it sucks to do. I mean, it is a royal pain in the ass. So now that I've gotten those out, I can lower my jacks down. I've already taken the bolts out of the skid plate for the gas tank, so I can let that down. And then I've got this attached to a bottle jack, where I can take this down, and this I've got up here supporting the cross member of the transmission. Alright, so I already told you I got the first one in down here. And since I've got this one in, I am not going to show you, I'm not going to pull this one back out and redo it again. But like I said, this one's cut down to about 2 inches, which is the gap that I have underneath. We'll see how this goes. Alright, so with that 2 inches that I have cut off of this thing, it was a hell of a lot easier getting this one in than it was the first one. So I got this one in, and right now this one's good and loose on top. You see that the other one's stacked underneath, but when I raise that cross member back up from the bottom, this should put a good amount of compression back up on this disc into that tunnel that's cut out there. So this is yet another reason why I love this worn drill winch that I have here. So there's a little lip that I've got to get the cross member over, and I got to pull it back towards the back side of the truck in order to get it to go in. So this thing, I like it so much better than a snatch block. It works really well. So I can put this thing right up here on this cross member and attach it back here on the frame and pull that cross member back. It works like a charm. There it goes. Popped it right back into place. So now that I've got the cross member back in place, all I gotta do is extend this bottle jack up a little bit. I'll go around the other side and tighten up the other bolts. Let's see how this is gonna work. Oh, look at that. It's made a nice seal up here around the top. It's got the second one down there underneath. It's gonna allow full range of the gear shift. Won't impede it. Oh, this actually might work. Now, we just move up into the cab and see if we can get everything back together up there. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the shift lever. Torx bolt. So now, the only thing left to do is lift the center console back in place, which is not my favorite part of this job. But, get the front down on this thing. Front, and then the part that I had the most trouble with last time to get this thing out was the emergency brake. I had to crank this thing up so hard that I thought that I was gonna break the spring on it. So last thing is to do is put gear shift knobs back on, and as we all know, these gear shift knobs, once you take them off, they really don't fit back on there very well anymore. So I find that extremely annoying. And now the last thing to do is just put in a couple bolts that are around the outside of the center console, and job was done. We'll take it for a spin with the top off and see if there's still a whole bunch of heat coming up out of the inside here. All right, it's been about a week, and this has done two things for me. First of all, it has solved the heat problem. It is preventing all the heat from coming out of there. Number two, it is way quieter than it was before. All the transmission whine is gone. The lack of engine noise in here, it is a new vehicle, essentially. So everything worked. It's perfect.